if you don't write any of your goals down, you're never going to get there. For those people out there that want to write a book, you just have to do it. You got to start somewhere. And I'm glad finding Scribe was, you just can't go back. If you
Mm,
don't throw that hat over the fence, you're never going to get anywhere. It's always just going to be on the back of your mind. Then 5, 10 years down the road, you're going to be saying, I should have done that when I was thinking about it 5 years
mhm.
ago or 10 years ago. You got to just start now.
Thank you so much, Gail, for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
Before we set the stage to dive into your book, I would love to just get a sense of your background, because I think that's really what this book was born out of, right? Is like your amazing career.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't really start thinking about the book until about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but I started out working at a university, but I was also working and going to school there, and I was a speech comm major. So I knew that I wanted to be a public speaker.
Mm,
I I just love the fact that I get to go out there, talk about anything that I want and changing kind of their mindset a little bit. And I like to inspire people. So that was like my goal. So working at the university, I got a full-time job. Then I was asked by the university police department to do some of their training for them. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it because I'm a public speaker. I want to change people's mindset. So I did that. And then they sent me away to be a self-defense instructor. And I thought that was really interesting. And I thought, okay, I want to do that. So I did. And just teaching the women to do self-defense was really cool, like really, really cool. Then I thought, well, you know what? Let me go a different direction. So I just decided to work for the university police. I'm sorry, the local police department as a crime prevention. So
mm,
higher education for 16 years, crime prevention for 16 years. And then I was still teaching self-defense, which I'm still doing today, which has been 26 years, which is
wow.
awesome. So then somebody came into my class and she was late and she said, "Can I have your PowerPoint?" So I thought, sure, like I don't have anything to hide here and it's not like copyrighted or anything. So I just gave it to her. And then she said, "It would be really fun if you wrote a book." Of course, this was years ago. So I just said, you know what? I like to teach the class. I like to be able to see people's faces when I talk about all of the stuff that's in the book, like the color code of awareness, victim pyramid, and all of that, which is different. People don't teach that in self-defense or personal
Mm,
safety. So I decided to go that route of not writing the book. Then my nieces were getting older and I thought I'd retired. I've been retired for 4 years from law enforcement. And then I thought, I think it's a good time for me to do it. So I started doing my research. I thought, how do I take my PowerPoint and make it actually into a book? So I started kind of writing it out. And then I did my research I found you guys, which helped a lot. So
that's amazing. I love the book's ability to sort of capture, not as in its entirety, but at a reasonable level, like an entire career's worth of developed expertise.
yes, yes. And it's really cool because in the book, it's not just like a how to and what to do, what not to do. It tells stories. There's characters in there.
Mm,
So the chapter one is about Lily. And so it's just a character written book. And I would have never known to do that unless I reached out. And Candace was my first person she helped me like actually put it together and I thought brilliant because she goes, "Well, you have to put stories in there. You just can't have your PowerPoint. You got to put stories." And I go, "Let's do it." So we did and I really enjoyed talking about it with her and how we put it all together in all of these chapters and I had to tell my own stories about me and my sisters doing like telling them you should be taking my self-defense class. So I tell a lot of
mm.
stories about what happened. And so it was a great collaboration. So I'm really glad I did it.
That's very fun. I'm curious kind of what your initial idea was for the book when you sort of started thinking about it or started to take it seriously, at least, versus how different it was when you were actually completed.
Wow, that's good question. And I I was just looking at let's just put everything I have on my PowerPoint and just write about it. Like, this is the 5-color code of awareness, and this is the victim pyramid. And
Hmm.
then it was just so blah. Then that's when Candace came in and she said, you know what, let's redo this whole thing, and let's give it life to where it can resonate, especially the younger generation, because that's what the book is for. It's
Hmm.
for working in higher education. I met a lot of students who would come in from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and they would become a victim of crime. And that was really sad. And I thought, wow, if I'm teaching this class, so I wish those students were in my class so that I could say, hey, look, you got to know what being in your color code of awareness is. Because if you don't, then that's 90% of your safety. So if they knew that. So that's where she goes, we got to put characters in here.
Hmm.
And she was right. And so that's why the book is so fluid. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure it's an amazing tool for retention too. It's
Yes.
much easier to identify with a story and to remember a story than it is to just, have a framework for something.
Absolutely. And these names of these characters are the ones we always talk about. Like Lily is
Mm,
in the chapter 1, and being a victim of crime, and then so the younger generation that's reading it are going to resonate with someone. There's Jack is in there. He is trying to be a hero, but he ends up getting beat up, and then so it's better to be a good witness. And that's chapter 7. So it's just there's just a lot of things in there. My niece already read it. So, and
yeah.
she read it in one day, actually in 24 hours. So I had
Wow.
to ask her, Camila, you sure you read this book? Tell me what the 5-color code of awareness. I had to drill her, and she knew it all. She's
That's
12 years old.
fantastic. At 12. I mean,
Yeah,
that says a lot
12
about the
years old.
readability of the book. That says a lot
Yeah.
about, the memorability of the ideas. So you said that your nieces sort of inspired this book. What was it? What was there? Was there a moment? Was there a story? Like, what happened that made you flip from,
Um,
oh, I'm thinking about this
yeah.
one day, to like, no, now is the project.
Yeah. And that's a good question because I don't see them very often. They live up
Mm,
in Northern California. I'm normally in Southern California, in San Diego area or in Arizona. So when I do get a chance to see them, they're just growing up so fast.
mm,
So there's a time where we were all sitting together and I'm like, hey, what books are you reading? And what are you doing with your activity? Because I don't know. They're in everything. They're in cheerleading, they're in karate. I mean, they're in plays, they are playing violin. I mean, that all of these things. And I thought, gosh, you're growing up so fast. And then that's when it clicked. And I thought, I think I better write this book before they get out of they go into
mm.
college. So I did a book signing just 3 weeks ago up in the Bay Area where they are. And that's when her dad, my brother bought the books for them, for the girls. And my brother sent me a text like, oh, Camila finished the book. I'm like, the book signing was just yesterday. Like, how did she read it so fast? But she's a smart girl. She loves to read. That's all they do is read books.
Yeah.
So, but prior to that, I started writing the book in the beginning of 2025. And that's so just prior to that is when I decided I got to write this book. So,
Who is the specific kind of target reader that you're most hoping to reach, and what are you hoping that they'll take away from the book?
So because I did higher education for those 16 years, that's where I'm focusing it on. And that's what the subtitle is like a personal safety playbook for leaving the nest. And that's
Mm,
exactly what it is. So, but it is for not just for the adults that are just leaving, that don't really know about what's out there that they can get themselves into and get in a lot of danger or be a victim of crime, but also for their parents and for my friend who's my age read the book, and she's like, got so much out of it. And she's not 20 years old or 18. She's like in her 50s. So, and it is for everybody, but the purpose of this book were so that when you leave the nest, you don't get yourself in a situation, because you would be able to know what A.W.A.R.E is. And A.W.A.R.E is an acronym for,
hmm.
like, if you knew the A.W.A.R.E method, then that would be 90% of your safety.
Okay, and I mean, when you tease it like that, we got to know the acronym. What's the acronym?
So the acronym starts with, so it is aware. So it's going to start with alert. And so when you go out to anywhere you're going to go, you're just going to be alerted that you're going either to the store, you're going to a concert, and or wherever it is where there's going to be people, there's going to be predators. You're getting on a bus or getting on a train. Then you're going to watch and you're going to make sure that you're just going to be aware of your surroundings. You're just watching for anything that's out of the ordinary. Then if you do see something or something's not just right, then you're going to assess that situation. You're going to find out like, okay, what's going on here? Then you're going to respond to your assessment, your own assessment. Like, how am I feeling? How is this making me feel? And then once you make that response, then you're going to decide if you're going to escape or if it's safe enough to stay. So that's what aware is. And if you, no matter where you go in an any day situation, if you have that aware concept or the method, then it is 90% of your safety because you're going to make that decision whether you want to go or not and stay safe.
Yeah. And is the right rule of thumb is generally just like be aware enough of the situation early enough to just get the hell out of there. Like,
Exactly.
don't be involved in
Right.
anything that you don't have to be involved in.
Exactly. Like you don't want to be going, what's going on here? And then you get closer and closer and closer. And
Yeah.
next you know, you're in the mix of all of this chaos.
Yeah.
So assess it yourself, respond to it, and then escape if you need to.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I I got that from.
Well, as a former Californian, I can testify that the market for crime avoidance is is booming.
Yeah.
Very unfortunately, like
Yeah.
it seems like,
Yeah.
it's hard to, especially in San Francisco where I lived, you've got to be very
Okay.
aware a lot of the time. And yeah, weird stuff's
Yeah.
going on all the time.
Oh yeah. On BART, right? If you're not aware of your surroundings, you're on your phone and somebody's gonna take it and run when the door's open. Happened all
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
when I was living there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really, yeah, one of these things that you never want to happen, but you always got to be prepared for it. And an ounce of prevention is
Yeah.
worth a pound of cure for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So what were your expectations going into writing a book? What did you hope that it would sort of do for you? Because you said you were retired at this point. Were you hoping to sort of start another career? Were you hoping to just give back to the community? Like, just always wanted to write a book? Or is this a return to your public speaking sort of
Yeah.
aspiration? Tell me about it.
Yes. So what I wanted to do was write a novel. I
Mm,
actually already have one written, and I was just trying to find someone that would kind of help me enhance it a little bit, kind of with Scribe. So that was kind of really my route in a way, but yet I still had this in the back of my mind that I was going to do a book. So
hmm
running into Ricky, because she was the first person that I spoke to early, I think it was the end of 2024 is when I found you guys online. So after talking to her, she's like, "Well, we don't do novels or we don't do fiction books." So I said, "Oh, okay." I thought, "Wait a minute. I might have another one in mind." And then that's kind of where it triggered this whole effect of, "Okay, you know what? Ricky, I really like you. I really like Scribe. I think let's go for it." So, but I didn't really know how to begin. So
hmm
that's when I partnered up with Candace and I said, "Look, this is what I got. This is what I think I want to write." And she's like, let's go a different route." And then boom, there it is. So yeah, I didn't know where it was going to go or what. Well, I was looking at one thing and then I got another one. And then
Yeah.
from there, I'm like, I got to get it in all the colleges and universities. I want to get it during their orientation. I
hmm
have friends that still work at the university that I worked at and said, yeah, no, what, come on out and let us see your book. And maybe we can make it as part of a requirement for orientation for first time freshmen, that's really my goal is to
Yeah.
get it out there.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I think it helps so much to have a book that is for a very specific life point where like new people
Yes.
are sort of graduating into this moment in life all the time. You know exactly who they are, you know exactly where they are, and there's people
Yeah.
who are interested in,
Right.
achieving the same goal. I always say like find someone carrying the same flag. And so if
Yep.
obviously universities want their students to be safe and
Yeah.
aware and not become victims of crimes. And so like, hey, if you can show up and help them accomplish that, fantastic. And if you could do
Yep.
that for the same group coming through every year,
Yep.
that's how you could be kind of a perennial selling book.
Mhm.
It's a
Mhm.
fantastic arrangement.
Yeah. once it's been written, and I know I was listening to one of your podcasts, is now that it's been written, there's a lot more involved. Like,
Mhm.
okay, it launched last month. Okay, what else? Oh my God, it's now the marketing part of it and trying to get the book out and doing conferences and public
Yep.
speaking. And so that's kind of my next step.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a different mindset than just the purely creative, but it's really fun and
Right.
it's ongoing and it's, hopefully where you get to pick the fruit and the rewards of the impact on the readers that you're hoping to.
Yeah.
For people who maybe are in a similar position that you were, a few years ago, just starting out, in like, I really like this picture of you sort of sitting there with a slide deck. You're like, I give this seminar all the time. I have presentations, I have materials. I have spent a decade plus studying this and teaching it. What were the materials that you sort of brought to your scribe to say, okay, this is what I think the raw material is? Like, I think some people show up with like empty hands and a full head, and some people have tons of notes, tons of materials. Like, what was that for you?
Yeah. Well, it started with showing what my PowerPoint was basically.
Hmm.
And it's just, and
Was
I,
that for a
so
course?
when I
Was it
said,
one talk? Like, what did that
yes,
PowerPoint look like?
yeah. So back in the year in 2000, that's when the university police department sent me to be a self-defense instructor. So that actual course was called RAD. It's rape aggression defense. So I took that and all of the stuff that I learned in there and I shoved it into a PowerPoint. It's actually a 12-hour course. And
Mm,
it starts with the education part of it. Then you do the kicks and the punch and the strikes and all that. And then you do a real life simulation. So you're in
mm,
a suit. You have to fight a guy in a red man suit and try to escape. So
mm,
that was the class. But a lot of people couldn't be in and do the 12-hour class. So I condensed it into a 90-minute presentation. So
mm,
that's when I took parts of it from the book or the student manual and I
mhm,
shoved it into a PowerPoint. So and the PowerPoint had the color code of awareness, the victim pyramid, and everything else that involves your personal weapons and then the assailant's vulnerable locations. So that's the other 10%. So 90% is education and knowledge. 10% is actually having to fight for your life or escape. So, so all of that was in the book. And then putting all that together with stories, that's what made it really challenging. And with the help of Scribe, maybe you guys like pulled it pulled it right out. Even the cover also is like awesome. So,
yeah, it is.
and
It's a
Anna
really
did a
cool
good
cover.
job because I told her it needed to have a little bird in there, and I'll show you. So here's the book with the bird, and then it's leaving the nest. So I said I want a bird to be leaving the nest, and
Mhm.
then this is the color code of awareness, all the 5 color codes, and so I wanted it to be really colorful. I wanted it to be like to stand out on bookshelves and she did it like boom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. Like did a great
She's
job.
she's so good. Yeah.
Amazing. She's
I'm
amazing. Yeah.
so glad you got to work with her. So that leads me into what was the high point for you in the whole process? As we record this, we're only a month or two out from publication, so I know the book has only been out for a little bit. But what's been your biggest moment of celebration or relief or joy throughout this process?
Knowing that everything was going to be locked. Like
Mm,
I'm learning the terminologies of book. And so when I got the email that are we ready to lock it? Because I had to read it all the time. And then we do a rewrite, then I read it again. And I'm like, oh my God, this isn't right. And then
hmm.
finally is like, can we lock it? And soon as it was, then I felt a lot of relief that it's done. Oh my God, no more writing, no more reading it. And then other things come up like, okay, now it's time to do your book cover. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. And then now it's time to there's just so many different steps than just writing. But that
Yeah.
gave me the relief. I was so done in a good way. I was so done with just having to keep reading and writing and then
Yeah.
the gals that did the proofreading did a great job too. Like just stuff that I would never have noticed
Yeah.
because I'm not a writer. So, but they were like spot on. This sounds really professional. And so I was glad that they did that for me.
Yeah, as we like to say, half professional is unprofessional. And,
Yeah.
in this day and age, there's a lot of people who kind of think you could just like upload a Word document to Amazon and, you wrote a book. There's just so many steps to do it in a really high level, professional, polished way
Yeah.
that, where your book can go on a shelf next to something from one of the big publishing houses and be indistinguishable because every aspect
Right.
of it is professional.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I resonate deeply with the moment of lock. Yeah, when you're done with that
Yeah. Okay.
manuscript and you're like, okay, everything else is just
Yeah.
going to happen. Like I'm on a conveyor belt
Right.
now, and the book will come out, and like I don't have
Yeah.
to wake up and pull the plow every single day anymore. The
Exactly. Exactly. It was like I said, it was a relief. Like,
yeah,
okay, no more
yep,
writing. What else do we have to do?
yeah, and everything else feels like kind of fun and
What's
fresh, and
next?
it's a new project. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes.
uh,
I needed something new. Like, okay, no more writing.
yeah. What is something an unexpected good thing that has resulted from this book being out in the world?
Unexpected good thing is I didn't expect it to be number one bestseller. Literally,
Oh,
and
amazing.
I think it was the second day. It launched on a Tuesday, and then on Thursday, I got an email saying that it hit number one in two categories on Amazon. So that was totally unexpected. I was able to kind of tell my whole family, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened." So that was pretty cool. Didn't expect it.
Incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What are you hoping, let's say, in the next 5 years, what are you hoping that your big moment of celebration will be if this book can deliver for you?
I told you my goal that trying to get
Hmm.
in all the colleges and universities. Do you remember in high school? I don't know if you've probably read, I'm definitely much older than you are. We had to read in ninth grade Catcher in the Rye.
Hmm. Same.
So, and now I thought about that book when I was writing mine, this one.
Mm.
And so I thought, how do I get it to all of the students out there? And that was kind of my goal. Like, well, if my safety book could help the students who are the young adults who's just leaving the nest, why can't it be on every child person's hands and
Hmm.
even their family? So that's where I would like to see it in five years from now, to still for it to still not be to still be out there and people talking about it and seeing it in people's hands or students' hands and in their backpacks and in their purses or whatever, watching them reading on the bus.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I don't see it dying off like
Yeah.
anytime soon.
I love it. I like that because it's a series. It's an individual goal that is like achievable many
Yeah.
times. Right. And so, and
Yeah.
it's one that's within your control, which a lot of authors, I think, pick stuff that they can't control. And well, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah. And plus I wanted to go, it can go to other countries as well.
Hmm.
Like
For
they
sure.
just need to change the language, but the method is still the same.
Yeah.
You
It's
don't need to
universal.
change it,
Yeah.
yeah, in another country. You just change the language and that's
Yeah.
it. So that's kind of what I look at too.
Okay, so one of closing questions here is, what is your advice for someone who's where you were 4 or 5 years ago? Maybe someone planted the seed in them that they or maybe they hope to write a book one day, but they haven't really taken that first step to commit to make it a reality. How would you coach them?
So one thing that they have to do is if you don't write any of your goals down, you're never going to get there.
Mm,
You won't, because I had to write down my goals after retirement. Like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, well, I don't have to work again. So what else could I do? So I was thinking, okay, I took up golf. I wanted to see my grandkids more.
mhm,
And, there's just all these things. But then one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to take some classes. And these are just classes where you can take like meditation classes and things like that you find online. Like, oh, this is 30-day course and stuff. But if you don't write things down, you're never going to do it. And
mm,
and so I had to write it down. Like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going whether it's the novel, whether it's the self-help book, it's going to be written and I am going to do it. And so I made a goal in 2024 that in 2025, I was going to do it. So at the end of 2024, I started. And
Hmm.
so, and that's when I met Ricky. And I'm like, I'm not going to ignore this. I'm going to go for it. So for those people out there that want to write a book, you just have to do it. You got to start somewhere. And I'm glad finding Scribe was, you just can't go back. And that's kind of how I felt with you guys is I'm not going to say, sorry, Ricky, I'm not interested. I just kind of, you have to throw the hat over the fence. If you
Mm,
don't throw that hat over the fence, you're never going to get anywhere to,
yeah.
it's always just going to be on the back of your mind. Then 10 years, 5, 10 years down the road, you're going to be saying, I should have done that when I was thinking about it 5 years
Hmm.
ago or 10 years ago. You got to just start now.
And in your case, I imagine it was much easier to do it while it was still fresh, where you were kind of
Yeah,
newly retired, and all this information was still really fresh, and you had a lot of energy and momentum and connections to carry
true.
into promoting it. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great advice.
And it was a fun journey. I had a really good time
Good.
and I don't want it to end.
It's not. This thing is going to be with you for a long time. There's plenty of work left to do.
Oh, good.
Gale, thank you
Good.
so much for taking the time. Where should people go to learn more about you, follow along on your author journey, and pick up the book?
Oh, yeah. So I have a website. It's stay-aware.com.
Yeah.
So on the website has all the information you need for anyone who wants to buy the book, follow, subscribe so that I send out safety tips every 2 weeks. I send it out. So it should
Yeah.
be something that people can contact me through there too as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Gale. I appreciate all that you have done in your career, and now this new form that this important and noble work is taking. Thank you for
Oh,
taking the
good.
time.
Thank you so much for having me.